Okay, so good morning, students. Welcome once again for this plastic engineer lecture. And we have started with our second section, basically designing of different types of components, plastic components, and the molds. And this designing is based on kind of process that is followed for the molding. So basically, as we discussed in the first section, there are plenty such processes which are applied for different applications. So based on the applications, there are different processes, but mostly the processes which are followed regularly are like compression molding or transfer molding, which is a kind of similar kind of compression molding process, and then blow molding, injection molding. Okay, so these kind of processes are generally followed for most of the application. Out of these also, most of the times compression molding and injection molding is preferred for maximum applications. And if the components are too large and these components are hollow from inside, then blow molding is preferred. Okay, because to manufacture or to produce the component, to produce or manufacture large component in setup is quite difficult. So it requires to have a different kind of setup whereby it will not be included inside the cavity, or it will not be completely inside the setup. Okay, so that time blow molding is preferred. Okay, and we saw the example of that also, like manufacturing of water tanks. Okay, manufacturing of water tanks, very quite water tank or any other tanks, okay, which are larger in size. Getting okay, that time designing of the mold for such applications is not difficult. It's simple, but nothing is there because it's a simple cylindrical tank, and we have to, and even the wall thickness is also very less, and no any such complicated or complex structure. Very simple structure, as like simple cylinder. Only thing is that it is larger in size. Okay, it is larger in a size. So basically, the size of the mold or size of the setup required for this kind of application will be large. Okay, so in that case, size matters more, okay, rather than a costing, okay, or rather than a design of a mold. Okay, so being a very large size and being a very less costly component. Okay, because you know the price of the simple water tank, a 500-liter water tank or 1000-liter water tank. Okay, hardly it will cost in a couple of thousands. Okay, in 2 to 3 thousands you will get that water tank. So for such kind of less costlier atoms, we cannot go for high cost molding process, right? Process in the sense setup, we cannot go for the large setup. What we want there, just we want a small size component, and we should be able to make it large one, and that is done by the mold blowing process. Okay, air blowing process. Okay, so that's how it is manufactured. Similar kind of product in a smaller size, like our PET bottles. Okay, like carbonated drinks bottles, thumbs up, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or like drink water bottles. Okay, which is of hardly 1 liter, 1 liter, 2 liter. Okay, so in that case, size of component is small. Obviously the cost is small, because even a 1 liter water bottle is costing 10 rupees, that too with the filled water. Okay, and empty bottle will not cost more than 2 to 3 rupees. Okay, so hardly it is a 1 to 2 rupees product, but size of the product is a small. So in that case, blow molding is not required. Okay, even with the simple injection molding also you can manufacture that component easily, because obviously the time taken by blow molding will be quite large, because apart from injection there will be a blowing process also. Getting it? Okay, so in case of injection, simple injection in the mold cavity and the removal of the component, that is the only cycle. So time required will be a less. Okay, so the PET bottles are preferred through injection molding process rather than going for the blow molding. As the size of the component uh, as the size of the component increases, accordingly the need or the requirement changes and the process requirements also changes. Okay, and that way the processes are different. Okay, so here in the second section, mostly we are going to discuss about the basic processes which are mostly applicable for all kind of or more than 90% components or products are manufactured by using this only two processes: compression molding, sometimes transfer molding, that is also a type of compression molding, and second is a injection molding. Okay, and third level it will be that blow molding. Okay, so we are going to see these three basic molding processes for the designing point of view. And even with the designing point of view, we don't have such a complicated design process. A simple like you have studied about the casting process also. Like a similar kind of process here, only the heat range or the heating range is more in case of a casting process, because there we have preferred the metallic materials. Okay, metallic or non-metallic materials, whereby density of the material is very high. Okay, so where there is a high density components are there or materials are there, we need to have a more or larger temperature range to melt that particular material. Okay, and if density is the less of density of the material is less, then that time we can melt that material or the component with the lesser temperature range also. Okay, so by that way plastic components or the plastic raw material is having less density, or the plastic is having less density, so that we need a lesser temperature range, and accordingly the design parameter will also vary. Because see, in case of castings, whereby we required a higher temperature range, so design parameter also changes. Okay, mostly what happens, maybe you have studied it in a machine design, that temperature factor is not considered. Getting it? Okay, you are going for a simple plain design. Okay, that even that designing is also very complex one. In a machine design you have studied that. But apart from that, environmental factors are also required to consider while designing any kind of product. Okay, and this temperature factor is considered under this environmental conditions. Getting it? Right. So whenever there is a high temperature requirements, or whenever this material or component is going to face a higher temperature range, design parameters automatically changes. Because see, just take an example of material of the mold cavity. Okay, so if in that mold cavity we are going to pour very high temperature molten material, so so in that case the thermal expansion coefficient, you have studied it in a heat and mass transfer, or you may study it. Okay, you will study it. So that thermal expansion coefficient should be low. Otherwise, what will happen, once we will pour a very high temperature molten material inside the mold cavity will start expanding. It will start expanding. Okay, because of the thermal expansion coefficient. So that should not happen. Okay, so this temperature factor is also required to consider while designing the molds. Okay, at least for mold. Okay, at least for mold. So what I want to tell, that in this case, in case of plastic engineer, we are going to consider a simple factors, whereby even in that factors, only that factors we are considering where the intensity of that parameter is more. See, let's take an example of force or the pressure. So throughout entire setup, each and every element, each and every part of the setup is going to face a kind of pressure. Each and every element, starting from small nut, bolt, screws, mold, then hydraulic jacks, springs, everything, every element is going to face some kind of pressure. But we are going to consider the pressure range only the locations or places or the component whereby that intensity of pressure is more considerable. Okay, at the end I want to tell that where there is a considerable effect of that particular parameter, there only we are going to consider that. Okay, so with that perspective we are going to design the mold and the component. Okay, compression mold, we will see the factors required for compression molding design, and then we'll see the simple component designing for the compression mold process. Okay, right. So designing part is not so complex. Understanding the elements which is a part of that designing process is important one. Okay, which is having the effect on this designing part, that elements we will have to study. Okay, so now we have started with the mold heating and mold venting, the primary two parameters. Okay, that's why we have studied the mold heating and mold venting. Getting it? The reason is that one. Now then in case of basic design process, we are going to study about the bulk factor, projected area, clamping force, land dimensions, and ejector pin. Ejector pin already we have seen. Okay, so these parameters are there. A simple. These are the parameters which are going to play a crucial role while designing a compression mold or the compression mold component. Okay, and then in the last lecture we have started with the bulk modulus. Okay, and we have seen so many things about this bulk modulus, and we have gone through a couple of examples also from different exams. Okay, not basically based on this bulk factor, but the bulk modulus, which is a part of your strength of materials, fluid mechanics, and sometimes in a heat and mass transfer also. So this, in a simple, we are having the terminology of bulk factor, and most of the times we have came across about the bulk modulus. Okay, similar kind of term or similar kind of factors. So basically, the basic meaning of the bulk modulus is the ratio, or it's the comparison of compressive stress to the compressive strain. Okay, or the change in pressure with respect to compressive strain. Okay, or the volumetric pressure upon the volumetric strain, delta P upon delta V by V. That was the bulk modulus which we have studied in another subjects. Okay, here we are having the bulk factor. Now this is a similar way, not a same bulk factor and the bulk modulus. Okay, in the bulk modulus we had studied that when we apply the pressure for particular material in a heated condition, when we will apply the pressure on that component or the molten material, then in the denominator if you see, it is a volumetric strain. Strain means what? The change in the dimensions. Okay, a change in the parameters, dimension parameters. Okay, so similar way we are defining the bulk factor for this compression mold, but it in a different way. Okay, so delta in bulk modulus, what is there? Delta P, application of pressure, so that there will be change in volume. Simple meaning, application of force or pressure, so that there will be change in volume of the material. So at the start there will be a raw material in a free flowing condition, raw material in a heated condition. Okay, and then we are applying the force on it or pressure on it, and ultimately it will be compressed to the size or specification of final product. Getting it? Okay, so in the mold cavity, when we apply the pressure, this free flowing molten material will be compressed. Okay, so after compression we will get a different volume of the material, because at the start it was in a free flowing condition, it was a raw material, raw molten material, which is compressed to the final product size or final product specification. Now the volume at the start was more, and the volume at the end will be a different, lesser volume, because it is compressed. So we want only these two parameters, volume at the start and volume at the end. Because what I told in the last lecture, ultimately we don't or we are not aiming to calculate the final volume of the product. Final volume of the product that we can get from the designing parameters also. Because first of all, we are designing the product. Designing in the sense, so what is the meaning of designing? We are calculating the size and dimensions of the product. What should be the length? What should be the height? What should be the width? What should be the depth of hole? That's what. So with this dimension also, without going for molding process, we can easily calculate the volume of product. So ultimately, before going to the process, we are having the volume of the product. We are having the volume of the product. Now, if we are having the bulk factor, or time being, you can consider this as a bulk modulus also. If we are having this parameter of bulk factor or bulk modulus, we know the bulk factor, we know the final volume of the component, we can easily calculate the volume of the raw material, and that's what they aim. We want to know for such kind of volume of product, how much volume of raw material is required. So ultimately, we have to calculate the volume of raw material required. Okay, volume of raw material required. Okay, so this is the bulk factor, a ratio of ratio of volume of raw material to the volume of final product. Okay, volume of raw material to the volume of final product. Okay, out of this, we know volume of final product, we know bulk factor. Based on that, we have to calculate the volume of compound, volume of raw material. Getting it? Okay. Now this will complete it fastly. This bulk factor, we have studied it in the last lecture also. See, apart from raw material, plain pure raw material, if we are manufacturing the PVC component, okay, polyvinyl chloride component, so we should not have only, or apart from having a pure PVC raw material, we are going to add filler materials. Okay, and I told you the meaning of the filler material or the role of the filler material. Okay, just take the example of bricks. Apart from soil, we are adding the ash, we are adding the water. Okay, different role. Water will play as a role of binder, ash will play as a role of providing support for the strength. Okay, it will increase the strength. Getting it? Similar way, in this also we are adding the fillers in the raw material. So apart from considering the volume of raw material, we have to consider the volume of fillers also. We have to consider the volume of fillers also. So these formulations we have gone for. We know the weight of the component. So by depending on the density, we can calculate volume of the component. Okay, volume of the component we can easily get from the designing parameters also. Now we know the volume of the component. Apart from, now what is going to happen? See, we cannot go for exact amount of material. We cannot go for exact amount of material, because based on the process, based on the pressure, heating range, temperature range, venting, there is a compression. Getting it? Okay, only based on the pressure, the component is not going to be compressed. Another parameters are also important. Based on that, compression will happen. Okay, and so that to compensate for extra, extra material is required, but we cannot go for lesser material, because lesser material will leads to improper production of the component. Okay, so we will not get the exact size of the component. If there will be extra raw material, it will be come out in the form of flash, which we can remove it easily, okay, but if there will be lesser material, the component will not be a proper one. Okay, so at least 10 to 20% extra material is added along with the raw material. Okay, so finally the loose powder volume or the loose material or the raw material volume can be calculated like this: 1.1 into 1.2, which will take care of extra material, and Wk divided by density. Okay, W is the weight of the product, K is the bulk factor. Okay, dimension of powder are also important. I told you the meaning of coarse powder and fine powder. Okay, and right, so this was depending on that, and then we have gone for the projected area. Projected area. Okay, I told you the meaning of the projected area. It is the effective area over which we are going to apply the pressure. Getting it? Effective area means what? There are going to be some cavities, there are going to be some openings in the product, so there we are not going to apply the pressure. Where there is a solid materials are accumulated, there only we are going to apply the pressure. So here was the simple example. Look at the first one only. At the start there is a rectangular of the size W and height capital H, height or width you can consider, and internally there is a cavity. So effectively, this crisscross region is only the effective area. Okay, here only we are going to apply the pressure. So that is the only projected area. Okay, so projected area is that area, or you can observe that area in the normal cross section, normal to the movement of plunger, movement of ram. Okay, if you view in the direction of movement of ram or plunger, so normal to that movement, if you take the cross section, you will get the projected area. Getting it? Okay. Now, based on the projected area, we are going to have clamping force. We are going to have clamping force. Okay. Not a difficult parameter, simple one. Clamping means what? Clamping force refers to the force applied to the mold by the clamping unit of molding machine in order to keep the mold closed, or this force must oppose the separating force. Okay, now what is going to happen? What is going to happen? See, in the mold venting, we studied the purpose of mold venting. Okay, to escape the trapped gases, to escape the trapped air. Okay, so these gases are actually generated because of the heated condition of the material. Now what will happen when we are forcing the mold, or when we are forcing the two parts of the mold to close, these gases will generate, and these gases will try to escape from the mold cavity. While trying to escape from mold cavity, it will apply a pressure on the surface. It will apply on the pressure on the surface, which is in the reverse direction of application of pressure by setup, or by ram, or by plunger. So in the reverse direction we are getting the pressure, so it will oppose the closing of mold. It will oppose the closing of mold. Okay, so the setup has to overcome that pressure. Or even see, whenever we are pouring the molten material, what I told, we are not pouring exact quantity of material inside the cavity. Whatever is the volume of cavity, we are not pouring the exact quantity of material. We are adding 10 to 20% extra. Here you have studied it. We are adding 10 to 20% extra. Look it here. Okay. Now this 10 to 20% extra material is going to apply a reverse force, reverse pressure. Okay. So the system or setup should overcome that pressure, and the force required to overcome this reverse force is nothing but the clamping force. Ultimately, what I want to tell, that force required to close the mold, force required to close the mold effectively. Okay, why force is required? Because there are reverse forces are there because of these trapped gases, because of this extra material. Getting it? Okay, so to overcome these forces, we are going to force this mold from the top by using the plunger, by using the ram, by using the hydraulic setup. Getting it? Okay, so that's what the clamping force. Okay, and once this force is applied, once the mold cavities are closed, clamps are locked. Okay, okay, by using the nut and bolt arrangement. Getting it? Okay, required clamping force can be calculated from the cavity pressure inside the mold and the projected area on which the pressure is acting. Right. Okay, so here is the projected area plays the major role. Getting? Okay, so from the mold cavity we are getting the reverse pressure, so that pressure is okay, so the external pressure should overcome that reverse pressure, so that we are giving the pressure on the projected area, so that mold will be closed. And how we are going to calculate the clamping force? The pressure into the projected area. Pressure into the projected area. There are variables that affect the clamping force calculation, like material type and the depth of the part. Now let's check the first one, material type. So flowability of the material will also decide the inside pressure. Are you getting? See, if the material is easy to flow, if the flowability of material is a good, then from externally we are not supposed to give some more pressure. Why we are putting the pressure from the top? Why we are forcing it from the top? So that material, liquid material or semi-liquid material will occupy each and every space inside the cavity. If flowability is a good, if flowability is good, we are not supposed to add extra pressure from the external. Are you getting? Easily by its own material will occupy each and every location. So that time pressure requirement will be a less, and obviously the clamping force will goes down. But if flowability of the material will be a very less, flowability of material will be less. Okay. So when it happens, when the density of component is more dense means less flowability. Okay. So when the flowability is less, that time to make it to flow, when flowability is less, to make it to flow, we have to apply the pressure from the top. Okay, pressure by the ram, pressure through the plunger. Okay, and in that case, clamping force requirement will be a more. Second thing, depth of the part. Depth of the part. Okay, now let's take an example. Simple plate, plastic plate we have to manufacture. A plain circular or rectangular size plastic plate, nothing, like a tabletop. Okay, if you see the tabletop, it is only plain surface. Okay, plain part. So that kind of plain part we have to manufacture. So a very simple part, just put the material inside the cavity. Cavity will be also plain, no any extra, so sorry, no any complex shape, simple plain rectangular size cavity. If you pour the molten metal inside that cavity, it will easily occupy each and every space. And as being, and look at the depth of the part. Plain surface where there is the case of depth of the part. Okay, and thickness is also going to be less. So in that case, it will easily occupy the space. There is no any complex designing or the complex shape. So pressure requirement is very less. But if suppose we want to manufacture a very a product having very depth, which is having a very high depth. For example, let's take an example of cap. Let's take an example of cap, bottle cap, or let's take an example of plastic glass. Plastic glass. So in case of plastic glass, wall thickness is small, but depth of glass is more. So in that case, plunger has to travel more, ram has to travel more. So more traveling means, so it is traveling more inside the mold cavity. So as it will passes inside the mold cavity, as it will travel inside the mold cavity, so material will restricts its movement. That time we have to apply the more force. Okay, so more and more depth, plunger or ram has to travel more and more. That time material or the trapped gases will force that plunger or ram in a reverse direction. So that time we need more clamping force. Okay, that time we need more clamping force. Got it? So type of material, depth of the part. Okay, so that will also decide the clamping force. One more parameter is there. Okay, I missed that. Temperature. Getting it? Okay, because temperature will ultimately have effect on the flowability. If the temperature range is a less, okay, that temperature part we have discussed in a detail in mold heating. Okay, so if temperature range is a less flowability. Less flowability means apply the more pressure. If temperature range is optimum, not more, okay, not high, okay. If temperature range is optimum, so that material will flow easily, so that we can get a good flowability. In that case, material will flow easily, and we need not to apply the high pressure from the top, okay, through the plunger. In that case, clamping force will be less, okay. So even the range of temperature is also having the effect on the clamping force, okay. Not that much level, but it will have, okay, it will have the effect. Getting it? Okay. Now, okay, see, these are the major parameters. Small parameters are there which are not, we are not going to consider, but it will have the effect. Let's take an example of wall thickness. Wall thickness. A product having large wall thickness and the product having small wall thickness. See, when the product will have large wall thickness, we have to pressurize it at with a very high pressure, so that it will, material will flow towards the wall, okay. We will get a high thick wall, okay, wall with the huge thickness, okay. That time also we need a high pressure. In case of small wall thickness, material will easily flow around the plunger, around the ram, okay. So it can easily flow, and that time will, we may not to go for the high clamping force. Got it? Okay. So there are so many parameters for which, on which this clamping force depends, but basically material type, depth of the part, and temperature. High filling pressure acts on the inside of the cavity. Since the parting surface of the mold tried to expand outward due to this pressure, it is necessary to clamp the mold so that it does not open instantly. Okay. Now, what happens? What happens when we are pressurizing the molten material by using the ram, by using the plunger, okay, or any other element, okay, which is forcing the material inside the cavity. What will happen? This material will try to escape from the parting line. Parting line is that surface where these mold boxes are closed, okay. So this mostly the higher pressure acts on this parting surface, so there is a small opening at the parting surface, okay, because this is the actual, the gap is there. So this material will try to escape from that opening. So 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 we have to apply the clamping force there, so that it will close very fastly and material should not escape from this opening, okay. It is easy to imagine that flash will be generated if the parting surface open even very slightly. The force of keeping the mold closed tightly is called as the required mold clamping force, okay. So what happens actually at the parting line, if there will be a small gap. Parting line means what? Two mold, the surface at which two molds are closer together. Two mold elements are closer together. Parts are close together. Now, if this clamping force will not be a proper, if the pressure will not be a proper, possibility is that there will be a small gap or small opening will be there at the parting surface. And what will happen when we are pressurizing the raw material by using some ram or plunger? This material will not come out of the mold, but at least it will flow over the surface of parting line, or over the parting line, over the parting surface, okay. And it will create a flash. It will create a flash, okay. So simple example, if I want to give, manufacturing of pots, okay, simple pots which we are using it in a, not a plastic pots we are not using, but still metallic pots we are using, okay. Even you can, let's take an example of flower pots which are made from the plastic flower pots, okay. Have you seen this? There is a like triangular type, or the depth of the part in case of flowering pot is a high, okay, and there is a one flash type material, or the flash type part is there, which is coming out of this cavity, okay, for holding purpose, okay. If you have seen the flowering pot, let me check. I'll show it. So sometimes it is necessary, sometimes. Got it. Okay, where it is going. Okay, now this surface, yeah, this one. Okay, okay. So this surface is preferred at the parting line. Okay, this surface, or even in this case, here is the surface. And this is required for holding purpose. Getting it? Okay. So similar kind of uh, if similar kind of things are going to be there for other components where it is not required such kind of holding part. Okay, so there that time it is called as a flash. Okay, so this kind of structure is possible if that molds will not be closed properly. So what happens when we are putting the plunger inside this cavity, this will be pressurized inside the cavity, but this material will come out from the parting line, parting surface. Okay, this material will come out from the parting surface if mold will not be closed properly. Now here it is desired, here it is the need of design, but not for all product, not for other products. Okay, so this kind of flash is, or flash will be there if there will be improper closing of the mold cavity. Getting it? Okay, so that's why the force required, this force of keeping the mold closed tightly, simple, the force of keeping the mold closed tightly is called as the required mold clamping force. Calculation part is very easy. We are pressurizing, we are putting the force over the projected area. Okay, so this projected area of molding multiplied by compression pressure, compression pressure into molding, sorry, projected area. Okay, we are not putting the pressure on the cavities. Okay, we are putting the pressure on the only projected area, only on the effective area. So clamping force, keep it in mind, these formulas are required. Clamping force is nothing but the compression pressure applied over the projected area. Okay, so multiplication of projected area into compression pressure is nothing but the clamping force. Okay, and the next one is the land dimension. Okay, a simple parameter. Land means for the landing purpose. Okay, land dimension is distance between actual cavity dimension and the vertical wall of powder well. Okay, don't get confused. See it, I will show it you here. Okay, for landing purpose, for landing purpose. Okay, see here, this is the actual cavity dimension and this is the extra or the space provided. So in this case, here is the land. Okay, or this is the land surface. Which one? Look at this, look at the cursor here. Can I zoom it? This is the land surface, this is the land surface. Look at the cursor if you are observing. So at this land surface or over this land area, this mold piece will rest here. Look at this, here it is shown properly, this black, it is resting over this surface. It is called as landing. Okay, sometimes based on the mold design it is different, it is different in this case, it is different in this case. Okay, so here is this landing area. Okay, so landing area, that is the, this is this space provided for the landing of this mold part. Okay, or sometimes to allow the flow of excess material. Are you getting? Sometimes to allow flow of excess material. Okay, these are the landing bars. Okay, over which this entire structure will land. Okay, this entire structure will land. Okay, so you will get the idea now. Landing bar or landing surface will also face clamping pressure. Okay, so clamping pressure is also applied on the landing bars on the land area. Okay, so this is the land area. Where is the cursor? This is the land area and this is the land bar over which this entire structure will rest. Okay, Sometimes it is provided to allow the escape of extra material. In this case, where flashing is there, okay, flashing is expected. So this time it is given as an extra space. Getting it? Okay. So this is the land dimension or the land area, and this one is the clamping force. Simple formula: projected area of molding multiplied by compression pressure of plastic material. Okay. So now this is the one of the formula, clamping force, and second one is the projected area, effective area over which this clamping force will act, and this one is the bulk factor. Okay, through the bulk factor we can easily calculate the loose volume, the volume of the raw material. Okay, out of this 1.1 and 1.2 or 10 to 20% is the extra raw material, sometimes desired for the flash or sometimes to fulfill the cavity properly. Okay, and the formula for loose volume is W into K divided by density. Okay, weight of the component into bulk factor divided by density, whole multiplied by 1.1 to 1.2. Okay, this factor will be given in the example. Okay, so in the next lecture we'll start with the some, or in the next lecture we'll see some more formulations, some more formulas, and then we'll go for the designing of the component. Okay, so that's what for today. Just a minute.